Everyone for joining today's Power Up. We are going to be going over some pretty cool things, but before we kind of dive in, I just wanted to do just a little bit of an introduction. My name is Tom. I'm going to be kind of managing the chat today, while Jen is going to do a lot of the presenting of the new software enhancements that our dev team has been working very hard on. So a lot of what we're doing here today is we want to help you become better engaged with your community. And we hope that with our easy-to-use software and a lot of the enhancements we're coming out today, we can help you meet that goal. So like I said, today we want to help you utilize some of our new features just so you're aware of what we are working on. So before we kind of dive into that, I know Jen wanted to talk a little bit about Musco, which is an upcoming enhancement. So Jen, I'll let you talk about that quickly.
Yes, if any of you who are on the call today have any interest in connecting your Musco lighting, so this would be like the lighting that tells your field lights to turn on at a certain time at night to be connected with RecDesk, please let us know. We are looking, we did develop an API connection, and we have one group who is successfully using it right now, and we are looking for more groups who would like to join in that connection so we can see how that can continue to help all of our customers so that you're not having to go through two different systems to make sure your field lights are turning on in the evening. So if any of you use Musco and are interested, please email us at support@recdesk.com, and I'm just going to type the email and put it into the chat box now. Oops. It needs to respond privately.
Oh, Tammy is just letting us know that they're going to be having new lights installed by Musco later this year. That is awesome.
Perfect.
We'll have to chat with you at some point if you're ever interested in Musco lights. And then I did see a comment come through. Someone was just asking if we're going to be sharing these slides. These are actually the only 4 slides that I had to share with you today. Everything else is a live demo done by Jen, but don't worry, we will be sharing this video on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back and reference it later on. And then also at the end of the chat, I will make sure that I drop my email as well as Jen's email into the chat box in case you have anything else that you'd like to follow up on. So great question, but yes, to anyone that is interested in Musco, also be sure to let us know at support. We're trying to get some beta testers. So thank you, Jen. Also, the next Power Up is going to be on September 17th, and at that moment, or that day's topic will be leagues. So go ahead and mark your calendars if you're interested. We will be sending out an email and another pop-up on the director page like you saw for this one today shortly in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. But if you want to block off your time, it will be held at the same time as on September 17th. So if you're in this meeting, just continue to block it off. I'm in Central Time, so it's going to be 1 to 2 p.m. or it's going to be from 9 to 10 a.m. Central Time as well. So we'll be giving you more information about that later on. But as for today's topics, the first thing that we're going to be going over is our new feature that's going to allow you to email a point of sale receipt right out of RecDesk instead of having to email them an invoice afterwards. After that, Jen will then go in and she'll show you how we've modified facility check-ins so it can be more based on just a single facility to pull only programs that are running there. And then I know a lot of you guys have been asking about flex forms and being able to pass the flex forms on to the end user so they can fill it out at home, and we can finally let you do that. So she will be going over how can you assign out a flex form to a program, facility, or membership and allow a participant to go back and fill it out later online. And then after that, we're going to be ending with split household credit. A couple weeks ago, we allowed you to use household credit online. As of yesterday, we will now let you be able to have split household payments online with using household credit. So with that, that is the agenda. I know a lot of you have already been using the chat, so thank you. If you have any questions throughout today's training session, feel free to drop them into the chat. I'm going to be monitoring those, and I will ask Jen at good stopping points your questions. Otherwise, we will have question and answers at the very end as well. So with that, Jen, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to let you take it away.
All right. All right, everyone. So first, we're going to go over the new feature that's part of our point of sale system. So when you're doing a point of sale and you're selling an item, we got to ask a bunch of questions about, hey, what if we don't want paper? So we added a couple of an option for you to be able to email people. Now, there's a couple of things to know about this. If you just allow it to be the general patron, you're going to manually be able to type in the email. But if you search and you look by the last name for the person that you want to connect to pay the bill, when you go through the steps and you click on the continue and get to the print box to be able to email the receipt, it's going to pull in their email from their profile. And from here, you're going to be able to send them an email receipt instead of having to do any paper receipts. That is it for this piece of the system, but we know that a lot of you are asking for it and you think it's a really cool feature. And the next feature we added. Oh, yep.
I apologize. You pulled in a guest. No, what happens if you check out as a guest?
If you check out as a guest, oops, that's a $0. If you check out as a guest, it's going to be the only difference is when I get to the email, it's going to be blank. So I need to type in the email that I want the receipt to go to.
Awesome, thank you.
Now the next piece is our go to check-in. This area, a lot of you are asking for your programs to filter by which facility they were out of. So maybe you have an aquatic center and a gym and, you know, basketball courts or pickleball courts, and there's different activities going on in each location. The drop-in selection for the programs now has an option to enable selected facility programs. So this would make it so that I only am able to drop into programs for the aquatic center. So when I go to check in, I only see these 3 programs. So I can check myself into just the aquatic center. If I change this to just enable all, we're going to see how much bigger that list is. Because that's everywhere's programming. So that's how that new filter piece is going to function for check-ins. Now I'm going to pause here in case anyone has any questions about these 2 features before I move on to the next one. And while we wait, I'm just going to go ahead and register myself for a program and start the process so we can go over this piece.
Awesome, thank you. I'm not seeing any questions coming in yet.
Nope, that's perfectly fine. So we'll move on then. So when you guys do in-house registrations, this is going to be the big flex form question. You guys have asked us time and again, how do we get our members to fill out the forms if we register them in-house or if we do the facility reservation in-house or membership in-house? How do we get them to sign those forms after the fact? Now, previously, you guys all knew the steps required that they had to come in and you guys had to manually update the information in-house, but there's been a new change. We have made it so that if you put the person into a member or into something in-house and you don't respond to the form, so when you get to this checkout screen, if you skip over the form and you just proceed to the invoice, and you even if you're not collecting the payment now, or if you are, from this step, you're going to be able to move on because your members will now be able to log in from their own community site. So I'm already logged. Oh, nope, got logged out. I was logged in too long. They're going to be able to log in from home, and they'll have a button called Forms. This is going to be the place where they're going to be able to come in and fill out those forms. So here's that program that I missed, and it tells them if it's a program, a membership, or a facility. And they're going to be able to submit the response. Again, this is mobile friendly, so this is the same thing as what they would normally do. And they would still type in information here and be able to fill out all the information, sign on the form, and update the response. That update is automatically going to update on your end. And then it goes away from their list of the incomplete only. Now, something that has changed is they can display all. So if you want them to be able to see the responses they've provided before, they'll now be able to view it. They will not be able to edit the form. They're just going to be able to view their previous responses. So that's the big new piece.
Also with that, keep in mind, you'll be able to, the end user can look up to 90 days in the past for forms that they've completed. After that point, if they want to look something up, they will have to contact you guys directly. It's not going to delete out of the system or anything like that. You will always still be able to look it up internally. We just took that extra view away from the end user so it doesn't get too much to look at when they come out to this page.
Yeah,
now,
and
go ahead.
I was going to say, Tom, there's also that the step we were discussing earlier, how as long as the program still has active dates to it for the schedule, if you wanted to have a survey filled out by your participants for how they like the program, as long as the schedule date has not passed, if you're not comfortable using like Google Forms or SurveyMonkey to obtain that information, you are able to connect a form after registration is complete, and it will show up on this list for them.
So a lot of you might be coming up with COVID-19 forms at some point or waivers in the future. If you were to go and attach those to your programs, your facilities or memberships, it will automatically show up on all the end users that they have an incomplete form. So it's a great way to pass forms onto the end user in case you make updates. Nancy did ask though, how do we attach a form to a reservation? And Jen, maybe you can show that, and it's going to be very similar to our same process with attaching it to a program or membership.
Now, the forms are initially attached in the very beginning. When you create your facility, there's a tab called Forms. This is where you're connecting that form. So this form would automatically get attached to the reservation as you go through. If you need to add a new form, maybe you want to add like a new COVID release or something, you can click Edit, check off the other form name you want to attach. This is a demo site. Please mind how many forms there are, and hit Save. And that would link that secondary form. Responding to reservation forms on this side is the same as what you guys are used to, what they're used to seeing now. They're going to hit that Submit Response, be able to view it, and edit their response and give you the information that you're looking for. So this is a little bit of a complicated reservation form. So this is going to give me more space to be able to upload information. And as you can see right here, for those of you who may be looking for an alcohol permit, this is something that they'd be able to upload afterwards, as I know most places don't seem to release an alcohol permit until you have confirmation that the reservation will occur.
Awesome. Jen, would you be able to go back to that site where you attached that form to that facility? Awesome. So Doug asked, is there a way that we can attach a medical form so that way they don't have to fill it out for each child for every program? So with that, there is a way to do that, yes.
Doug, you're just going to want to mark your medical form as shared everywhere that that medical form exists. When you mark a form as shared, it's going to make it so they don't have to fill it out each time. Now, it will give them the option of being able to edit it every time, And I usually use not so much medical, but like an authorized pickup tends to be my favorite example. Most of the time, the people who are authorized to pick those kids up, they're not going to change over a short period of time. However, it does allow parents to click that edit button to change it for future events if there is a change. Medical forms, maybe it's the same thing. If the child is perfectly healthy and has no allergies, they're always going to be able to skip past it. But if one day the child develops something or starts showing symptoms of a medical condition that you need to be aware of, they'll be able to pause and edit that form and be able to update the information as needed.
Keep in mind that once they sign up for that program or that facility or membership and they complete that flex form, only you are able to go back and change the information that they supplied on the flex form. They are not able to log back in on that online page and make changes to that medical form. That would have to go through you. And then that way you don't have anything surprising coming up after maybe you've already processed or printed those forms and examined them, that you don't have any surprises coming up during the day of the program. Great questions. Does anyone else have any questions?
Okay.
I'm not seeing anybody.
Now we're going to move on. I'm going to move on to the last one. Oh. Will all the people who have previously signed forms, you think? Yes, everyone who's already signed forms, they're going to be able to see them. It's just going to be in a different filter. It automatically defaults to their incomplete list. They need to just change it to all, and they'll be able to view responses.
And just remember, they'll be able to view them for up to 90 days. Awesome. Good job, Jen. Feel free to drop any more questions. If you have any more that you think of while we cover the next topic, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we can always come back and address them later on. Jen, would you be able to show us how split payments work online now?
I would, and I'm going to just try to find the program that has enough money on it where this is going to be a good example. There we go. So for many of you, we heard that any household credit you may have refunded during this period, you've got parents who have household credit, but not enough to cover the full bill. As promised, we've released it so they'll be able to use a partial amount during checkout. So they're still going to go through the checkout process the same way they always have. Oops, I didn't realize there was a form. Sorry, everyone. And then when they get to this screen where they pay with a credit card, up at the top of the screen, if they have any household credit, it's going to tell them, and they'll be able to hit apply now. That apply message will then tell them that the household credit has been applied, and the remaining balance is what's going to be charged on their credit card. So I only had $10, so it's making the amount $710.92. And that will split the payment naturally. So if I go here to the Payments tab and Payment Reconciliation, I can see the split payment right here, the $10, as well as the remaining amount charged via card. Now, split payments will show up with a note on them so that it has references for what the split payments are between. All right. Do we have any more questions?
We do. Before we jump into those questions, I know a lot of you guys are going to be using household credit if you haven't been using it already with some of these new features. If you click on the Admin tab, Jen, and you click on Settings, This is where you can assign the GL account, so that way when people have household credit on their accounts, it will be stored in this for finance to be able to pull that if they want to. I do highly recommend that if there is nothing assigned there, go ahead, create a fake GL account or reach out to your finance department, even if you don't use it, and just fill it in, so that way the money gets placed into some type of account. It just makes it easier for when you're looking at reports that it's going to show up underneath household credit. The other thing that you're able to do is, we had a lot of questions about this in the morning, being able to track where does household credit come in from. So I know Jen has a ton of household credit in both of her in her account, and you can track where it's coming from. What she's doing right now is she's went into money and household balances, and this is where you can pull up everyone that has a list of household credit on their account. So awesome. Thank you, Jen. So yes, now we have lots of questions coming in. Does anyone have any questions about the split payment while we're still on that topic? Otherwise, we have a bunch of questions going back to those flex forms that I kind of will address it there. When will this be available on YouTube? Either later on tonight or tomorrow morning, whenever Jen gets through and processes this video, and I know that can take just a little bit of time since it is recording in the afternoon. So our members haven't been able to use household credit at all. Do I need to change a setting? Yes. One, household credit, it's only going to pop it up if there's household credit on their account. We did by default turn everybody on to be able to use household credit on the online community, unless you expressed to us directly not to have that feature. So if you don't want your users to use household credit, let us know and we'll turn it off. Otherwise, Carrie, could you email us at support@recdesk.com and make sure that someone from your organization did not turn the feature off? Otherwise, if you have household credit on your account, you should be able to use it on the community page. Oh, so Carrie, they up until yesterday, so the question was, they reported they haven't been able to use it. Before yesterday, you could only use household credit if the amount that you were paying for was greater than the credit they had. So if you had $25 of household credit, you could use it. No, you could use it for anything less than $25. You could never do a split payment. So you could only use household credit if the value of what you were paying for was less than the household credit. Going forward with this, now with the split payment, it will let you use household credit if you're paying for something that's more expensive and it's going to result in you having to input a credit card. So we have been getting a lot of reports of people saying they can't use their household credit. That's where the split payment went into effect yesterday, and they should be good going forward.
I'm also going to add to this that please verify that the people who are saying that they can't use their household credit, but you know for a fact that they do, please make sure they don't have duplicate profiles. As silly as that may sound, it would not, it wouldn't be unlikely if they happen to have two profiles and the credit is on one but not the other. And that's part of the reason why they may not be seeing it right now.
Absolutely. Jen, would you be able to go pull up your member profile for your account and you can see even the history of how you've been using it?
Yep. So everything that you use household credit for, when you click Manage Credit, you're going to see everything listed here. If it's connected to a payment, it's going to hyperlink to that payment. When it's manually added in or manually debited, you're going to see no line item information.
Awesome. Thank you. So Doug, you're welcome. He said, thank you for fixing this household credit. He's been asking for this for a while. Doug, you're not alone. A lot of people have been asking for this. And we are just so excited to finally have this available to you guys. So I'm excited to hear about all of you using this. Well, yeah, with COVID and having to refund. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go back and I'm going to address some of the questions that came in earlier. So earlier, Nancy asked the question of if people, let me double check, are forms associated with programs, or can they be attached to profiles? So as of right now, Flex forms, they must be attached to a program, membership, or facility. So if you want to have a program, no, a facility out, no, sorry. If you want to have a waiver out there that you need to assign to somebody to have them fill it, a great example is maybe they filled out their medical form and they marked they had an EpiPen, and you need to get down and track down the documentation for an EpiPen release. What you could do is you could create a program called EpiPen Release, and you can have a waiver assigned to that. And Jen, would you be able to navigate to the community page?
Of
what
course.
we can do is if you hover over programs, you see how it gives you a drop down. We can do something very similar, but if you hover over the forms tab, in her case, she has forms only. So if she clicks on the forms only, it could drop down and it could say EpiPen, and if they click on that, it would take them exactly to that program to fill out, maybe at $0, create a $0 program, and then it's going to prompt them for just that EpiPen release waiver. It's a great way to, if you need to, you can go in and you can sign them up for that program later, and then just say, hey, could you go back online, and you'll see an incomplete form. So internally, you could assign somebody and not display your forms online or on this community page. And as long as you sign someone up for a program internally that's maybe hidden online, that Flex form will still display to the end user when they look at their account. So Nancy, I would recommend reaching out to your customer success manager or support, and I would recommend that for everybody. If you're interested in setting something up like that, let us know, because that is something that we will need to help you with if you want to have that forms drop down tab, so it would list out the different types of forms that you might want to assign. Also, by default, everyone does have a form section. So Jen, if you click on our form section on our community page, you can upload all the forms that they can then print out and they can bring in-house. So this is just into you guys internally, and you can always scan these in and upload it to someone's account if you need that on file. So that was a very good question. The next question was Flex forms. If you update or change the name of a Flex form, will it make it so the end user has to fill it out again? If you change the name or add a field, it will not prompt them to fill it out again. It's only going to say going forward that anyone would have to go and fill out that section of the form. So let's say you didn't ask for their t-shirt size and you started doing it. Anyone going forward would have to enter in their t-shirt size. If you want to pass a form onto somebody and maybe you have an updated 2020 form that's going to become 2021, what you're going to do is you're going to archive the 2020 Flex form, and then you would release the 2021 form and assign it to all your programs, facilities, and memberships, and it's going to force everyone to fill it out again. Okay, so that's a lot to comprehend. Again, if you have any questions about how to force somebody to refill out a Flex form, or if you're passing on a newer version to somebody, contact us at support or reach out to your customer success manager and we can go into further details about that. A lot of people, sometimes you don't change your form from one year to the next, and you can just go and you can change those dates if the verbiage has not changed at all. Karen asks, does RecDesk have any good forms as examples? Jen, would you be able to speak on this?
We have a couple of example forms that we've saved that we can email you to show you how they look as a final result when they're exported as PDFs, but we don't have templates that we can really build in for you. Really, the best thing that we always recommend with forms and with creating flex forms is think about an idea of something that would help you gather information, like an authorized pickup list. Reach out to your customer success manager. It'll probably take about 15 minutes to build one of those types of forms with your customer success manager or less, or you can try to build it on your own. But the important piece is figuring out what fields you actually need back as part of a form versus what might be profile fields. And that's something that most people get confused about when they're making these flex forms, is they add additional fields for who's the registrant's name and the registrant's date of birth, registrant's address. We already have that information. So what you really want to do is to just build it out as a questionnaire. But we've got a couple of PDF. If you want the PDF examples, send us an email at support@recdesk.com and we'll send that to you.
I did see someone mention that they require the forms to be filled out on a yearly basis. And that is very common. When I was working for the parks, I was in the same boat. They had to fill it out for each fiscal year. So what you can do is, in my forms, I like to put the year in the title, 2020. Those programs that are held in 2020 will have the 2020 waiver forms. When you start releasing your programs for 2021, you will want to have a new form out there for 2021. And Jen, would you be able to navigate to our YouTube page or maybe even to our support center here within our Flex?
I'm going to show both.
Oh, good. So here we have a Flex form section down below, and that's going to help you take you through step by step. And you can also have, if you have any other questions, this is a great resource for you to use. Also, there's a YouTube channel down here, which Jen has already started navigating to. And here, you're going to hear the lovely Jen, again, go through all of these flex forms, which is, where
do I have a playlist for flex forms? Yep.
There we go.
I'll just rename this to flex forms.
So Jen has done a wonderful job with posting a lot of these videos and step-by-step instructions and even breaking it apart, so that way you can come in and you can look at just different elements if only one part is of interest to you. There's the bottom one, which was 22 minutes, and that's probably her going through a full flex form training. Feel free to sit through one of those. Please note that with the recent updates to the flex form that we've done yesterday, some of what Jen is saying might contradict with what you're learning today, which would be like, can a user fill it out after the facility reservation? So we're still in the process of going through and vetting to make sure that all of these YouTube videos are still relevant. So just keep that in mind. Also, Jen, back here, would you be able to show where our power-ups are posted on the YouTube channel as well?
Of course, and actually there's two places that you can get to them. On the support center, if you scroll down, we actually have a promoted article called PowerUp with RecDesk that's going to link our playlist that's specifically for all of the power-ups that we've done, or within our channel. You can go to the PowerUp by RecDesk playlist, and you'll be able to see all the videos we have posted here.
Awesome, thank you. And was how about the resource center? Did you show that one?
I did not. So the resources is a little bit of a quicker one. This one is going to shortcut you to where the power-ups are. So if I,
we're going to link that up later on today when the YouTube link becomes available. If you click on, it'll say Power Up, and it's going to have today's topic, which is...
It had the old one.
Yes, that's the old one. So you'll see earlier tomorrow, you'll see a video link there that will take you directly into that YouTube channel. So I apologize. Great questions, everybody. Did I miss any questions? I want to make sure I got to everybody. There's a lot of people coming in all at once.
All right. Well, why don't we leave this meeting room open for a few more minutes, and we'll see if any new questions come in. Otherwise, thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to email us or give us a call, and we'll be happy to assist you with anything that you need.
Thank you.